Educating. Empowering. Entertaining. We are the top 5.
Good evening, good afternoon, everyone.
Good evening.
Hello, Geraldine. Yes, hello, Pamela Bergen Sampson. Thank you for joining the top 5. I'm your host today. My name is Yolandi Latham, and I have joining with me my 4 beautiful co-hosts. We have Hermelin, we have Julian, and we have Victoria. Everybody, please like and share this program. We're going to do great topics today. There's feedback somehow I'm hearing. I don't know where it's coming from. But in any case, like and share, tell your friends, get everybody ready and gathered. We have a great show for you today with lots of hot topics. Okay. Doug, thank you for being with us as usual. Lisa Carper, thank you for joining us. And Dodo Charles, thank you for sharing. And hello to you too.
Yes.
So what's been going on in your world? Let's chat. Let's catch up because it's been a rough week for me. I don't know what's been going on with you guys.
I tried to stay off of social media this week because I had some things to do. However, I did catch up on the movie Coming to America 2. And I must say, guys, I did watch the movie with a funny brain or funny thoughts. So I'm probably not the best person to do a review because when I read other people's posts, people was very upset. Some people addressed colorism, they addressed the social consciousness, they social black stuff. They said a lot of stuff and I was exhausted.
It's so annoying because to be quite honest, it's like listen, our community are the worst, like the hardest critics when it comes to our stuff, but everyone else's stuff, you won't hear a peep, right? We are not supportive of our own. And to be quite honest, I thought it was nice. I wouldn't compare it to the first one. It's a totally different era. Like you're talking about 1988. That's the year I was born. Jeez, like seriously, like I'm not going to compare from 1988 to now. A lot of things has changed, and I thought it was very funny. I was cracking up. I liked the dance moves. I was like, okay, look at Tiana Taylor killing it. It's like, okay,
Yeah, the only thing the only thing that bothered me a little bit is when they was using the word bastard child. I was like, well, why are we overusing that word though? So, and I know that word probably trigger a lot of people, but I just don't identify with certain things. So I was like, oh, I hope I don't have to hear it again. So, especially, in the Caribbean community, which, a lot of children are still referred to as bastards and stuff like that. So I see how that probably may have triggered some people. And I mean, if I look at it on the positive side, I would say then it should trigger the people who refer to kids as bastard and you stop doing it. So instead of complaining about a movie, because now when you hear someone else say it, it doesn't sound nice, right? But when you refer to a child that was born out of wedlock, or even like me, I remember they would refer to me as a bastard child, and I was like, I'm my father's first child. Like how I become a bastard child? I really didn't see it, and I didn't identify. And I just hope when people see that movie, those that continue using the word and referring to kids and adults as bastard, they will stop using it. So use that as a learning tool. That's what I would say.
I can understand why people got triggered. Yeah, because I guess they were using it for culture-wise, right? I mean, I think
so.
In culture and culturally, in a lot of different countries in Africa, they do use that word. So I've seen that certain things they would put some cultures in there so that you can kind of relate to the, I guess, the theme. But I can understand why people would be triggered by it. But then yet I kind of like you, Hermie, you said you just kind of went past it. I didn't really like dwell on something. Usually I don't take things personally when I hear certain things on like movies and stuff, because to me it's like, oh, it's fictional.
Yeah, I see Geraldine is calling it a bit of a disappointment and saying that Amazon wasted a lot of money and calling it rubbish.
Yeah.
And Doug King Howard is saying it's two different worlds. At the end of the day, we have to remember that it's a comedy.
Exactly.
It's supposed to show all the things in the Black community that are taboo and bring them out and have a laugh.
Exactly.
And yes, it's to create discussion. You don't see when Adam Sandler comes out with a comedy that people sit down and tear it apart for what it is.
Exactly.
It is supposed to be a comedy. You're supposed to laugh. They're approaching topics that are very sensitive in the Black community right now. And because of Black Lives Matters, everybody is ready to just dissect this whole thing. At the end of the day, just laugh and have a glass of wine.
Yes.
I'm gonna go back and look at it again the second time, because like Jordan said, is what she didn't like it, right? But I'm like, I didn't see all that. Like, what did I see it? I didn't see like all the stuff they complain about, because it's like I look at other people movie and they call the women the B word or whatever. I don't see like a lot of hoopla and Facebook about other people movies. And me and Derek was discussing it, and I'm like, babe, am I not looking at it with Black conscious eyes? I don't know if it's because of my age. I'm out of the Black consciousness. Like, like when I was 20s and 30s, I was like, no, I'm just trying to live. I'm just trying to like live to get to 60 or something or 70. Like, so I'm not paying attention to these things anymore. So I'm like, maybe we have to revisit it, because I really didn't get all the people was really mad. I know Rachel Charles was really mad, and she had a discussion on her page, and and I tried to kind of understand, try to like invoke the conversation and try to understand what she was talking about, but I still didn't really get it 100% because I didn't look at it from that eyes.
Lisa Carper says we enjoyed it. It wasn't as good as the first, and it's not great cinema, but we giggled throughout and don't regret watching it. So that's fair. I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing it, because I remember the first one. What I remembered was the costumes, and it was just funny. It was just funny about him coming to New York and screaming outside, "I love America," and somebody telling him to shut the F up or something like that from the window. So these are the things that were funny to me in the first one. So I'm gonna try not to be biased and just try to watch it with with a clean mind.
I was even thinking, right? The first one had, you remember the first one had the young lady barking as a dog, right?
Oh, it did?
Oh yeah. When I look at it again, I was like, what? Like she doing what? So I'm looking at it. I looked at it when I was 16. I was 16 then. Now I'm 40 something here. So it's like, that was funny then, barking as a dog. But when I looked at it the second time, I was like, oh, that's not too funny. Like, well, but then nobody made a hoopla about it then, because our mind, because we were teenagers, our mind wasn't on this Black consciousness and this and the whatever. So I think because we are looking at it at different times in our lives, the response is different. But if you look at the first one had a lot of things in it too.
What? A lot. And nudity. A lot of nudity. So I was like, wait a minute, why everyone is all up? And it was, let's to be honest, like you said, Adam Sandler, right? No one says anything about him, and he's pretty corny. So,
That's true.
And then when it comes to Eddie, he gets all this backlash. You're not funny, But our community can go watch Adam Sandler when he would say not a one thing, but we'll support those dollars, right? Support those dollars. But when it comes to our own, that's when we're like, oh, I wish I never spent that money.
Very critical.
That's the problem.
Well, what I could say, one thing that I can say is that Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall, they still look great.
Yeah.
They really haven't aged very much. They look amazing. So I don't know what they're doing, but like they always say, black don't crack. It's a
Wesley
fact.
Snipes had me cracking up. Landy, Wesley Snipes. Oh, you didn't see it yet. Wesley Snipes. Did you see how Wesley Snipes was walking into the room every time? I'm like, why are you just leading? You know what I mean? He was funny, but he cracked me up with all his entrances. I'm like, I couldn't even take it seriously. I'm like, what are you trying to battle here?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I had to Google all their ages. That's what I had to do. I was like, let me Google, because you know what? My husband never watched the first one. That's what I feel like if you don't remember the first one, that means you never watched it. So
Right.
I glanced and I was like, wait a minute, these people look old then. So that means they must be old now.
Yeah.
I was Googling, I was like, whoa, they're the same. I was like, dang, that's crazy.
I remember in the first one, I absolutely loved the costumes that they had in the first one. That was amazing. I see Lisa Cropper is saying that the costuming was beautiful in this one too. So that's good to know.
Yeah.
Right. If Rachel is on here today, Rachel, we would love for you to call us to just give us your opinion on the movie, because I know you have like a really strong opinion on your page yesterday. So if you're here today, call, because I know she pointed out like the sexuality. I'm like, what sexuality? I didn't see it. You know, so
right.
I'm like, oh, the bathtub scene where like I was braiding my hair. I didn't see us.
They had that in the first movie too. So they had it in the first one.
Yeah,
well,
but
guys,
I would love to hear Rachel's opinion if she's on the show today, if she's watching us today.
Right. So in regards to people picking apart things and making a big deal about things, I came across something on Facebook where they were talking about the topic of racism in real estate. And basically what they did, the person who was doing the commentary, they were talking about a couple who had purchased a home. They renovated their home. They spent like about $400,000 bringing this house up to standard. Then they were trying to get it appraised by, maybe they were trying to get some more from the bank, or maybe they were going to sell. And the appraisal came back really low, and they couldn't understand why this was happening because they've invested so much. They did so much work on this house. So what they decided to do, I don't know what made them decide to take this turn, but they got a white friend to go in to a bank or pretend that they were the owners of the property. And lo and behold, when they had initially went to get their appraisal for the property, it came in at 900. And when they went with their white friend, or they had their white friend present as the owners of the home, it came in at $1.5 million.
Whoa.
Yeah. And he gave another example of that. And I wish we had the clip ready to show to you today, but unfortunately it's not ready. But that was like, wow.
Wow.
So I know that Victoria, you are in real estate. What do you think about this?
Okay, so I'm not gonna, say it doesn't happen. It does. It surely does happen when it comes to real estate. I personally, when I sell a home, if it's not in New York or New Jersey, or anywhere, I always recommend my clients to take out anything that, your pictures first. You don't want anyone to know who owns the house. Secondly,
Right.
like when it comes to religious artifacts, I want the house to look as neutral as possible. Because when a client comes in, you want them to see themselves living in that house, not really your life living in that house. So when it comes to real estate, these things do happen. And there's a lot of examples of these things, especially I could give an example with Long Island, right? Long Island is a perfect place to basically say that these things happen a lot. I know it's gotten a little better, but they used to, just not have a lot of people. Well, the owners wouldn't want a lot of Black people coming into the communities, and by doing that is like not accepting offers, right? And the problem with those things is that you really can't prove it. Like if that happens, and if I feel that that may be the problem, it's hard to prove because you need the evidence, right? I just can't say I feel like it happened, right? You need the evidence. So, when it comes to that, I usually, like I said, I usually don't provide pictures. For example, I just did an offer today and we did a letter of intent. And I would
Mhm.
always tell my clients, do not provide pictures. They will always say,
Mhm.
can I provide a picture with my offer? No. You can make a
Mhm.
letter to tell them how interested you're in the property. That's fine to put you apart from the others. But no, I cannot have you put a picture because people are weird. Not everyone are like,
Mhm.
they're not like you, right? You know, you might be the
Right.
nicest person with a pure heart, but not everyone is like that. So it's always to present yourself as neutral. And when it comes to real estate, make sure you have a great realtor that has your back because that's important. You know, you want someone that's going to be
Mhm.
there, tell you the truth, and guide you through the process. So
Mhm. Do you find that you, as a Black real estate agent, do you find that there's people who don't want to work with you, or have you
oh,
ever
girl,
felt? Funny?
that is normal.
Mhm.
I feel like I feel like when it comes to anything, when it comes to business, period, to be Black,
Mhm.
it's you have to work harder. You know, I
Right.
busted my behind when it came to real estate, and a lot of people really would say, "Well, you did it so fast, and you did it so well." They don't understand that I went on the streets and knocked on doors and put my
Mhm.
business out there. Compared to some colleagues, you know, they could just say, "Hey, I want to," and they'll just hire you. You know, I've
Right.
been encountered with some people that will look at me like, "Oh, thank you," and just laugh it off, right?
Yeah.
So it's very hard as a Black woman in real
Mhm.
estate, and it's not like it's not doable. You know, I'm doing it, but it has its challenges. So, but I thank God that I'm succeeding, and the hell with all the challenges. I'm going to be successful.
Yeah, I think
Absolutely.
for myself, people are very fooled by my voice. So when I show up in person, they're very
Yeah.
surprised that I'm a
Mhm.
Black person.
Mhm.
I've read upon some things about redlining at the bank. So basically,
Mhm.
that means they refuse a loan to someone because they live in an area that's deemed to be a poor financial risk. And then you
Yeah.
have certain neighborhoods that just have a covenant that we're not going to let any certain particular type of people in, or if you make it in, people start to move out.
Yeah.
I'm seeing some comments here I see one from Lisa Kappa. She says one of her best friends was in an interracial marriage in the 90s in Chicago, and they quickly learned to visit the rental properties separately. So Ruth, the
Mhm.
white one, would sign the lease before introducing her Black husband.
Oh,
Mhm.
let me tell you an example. I don't want to talk too much. Sorry.
Mhm.
But I
Mhm.
remember when me and my husband, we was about to rent it's like a condos, but it was a rental. And I remembered the lady, she still gets on my nerves up to this day, but I remember she was like, "Are you sure you can afford this? Let me show you something
Mm.
smaller." I'm
Oh
like,
wow.
"No, I'm not going to use the language that I want to use on this showcase." But I said, "No, I'm not. No, I wanted to see the bigger one. I don't want to see the smaller one." She
Right.
insisted, right? Until she pulled up our credit and looked, and then she was like being all nice. And people was like, "Why did you work with her?" I had no choice because she's the agent of the building. It's like you
Mhm.
could bring another agent in.
Right.
Right. Right.
Versus all
It's
the
really funny. Samantha Latham, our sister. Hey, Samantha.
Hi, Tommy.
Yeah, Debbie. Some assumptions about Black buyers. They feel that they have no education or money.
It's the truth. Yeah.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah. I
That
see it
is
all the
very.
time. I see it with other agents that passes on their Black client, well, a Black person that comes in and says, "Oh, Victoria, do you want to take that?" Or I feel it feels a little sketchy to go into certain areas.
Mm-hmm,
Don't
mm-hmm.
hang
Right.
with me.
So, do you think it's good to use a white friend when you're going to look for houses and stuff like that?
No, no. Just
I don't
no.
know.
You use your. I feel like you get a good agent that you know
Mm-hmm.
that would have your back. It's
Right.
Right.
a lot of people, they go and look for homes and they would pick anyone, right?
Mm-hmm.
To represent them. Make sure
Right.
that agent has your back. Make sure they explain the process to you, make you comfortable. You don't want a yes ma'am, yes sir agent. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not that. I tell you the truth, right? so
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
you can actually know what's reality instead of fairy tales. But so
Mhm.
you really want someone that has your back in the process if you're buying or selling, whatever the case may be. And I don't really think that you should have a white friend. It doesn't matter. As long as you have a good agent and an agent that's not as biased as other people, you should be fine.
I remember when I had just moved to New York and I was looking for an apartment, and when I was going out looking, I had to it didn't look too good for me to be looking for an apartment by myself. It presented better as myself and a man, even though I could have afforded the apartment by myself. They wanted to look at me like, oh, well, she probably can't afford to live here by herself. So it's better. I had to get like a friend of mine to come and pretend that he was with me at that time to make it look good so that I would appear, like, oh, well, this is a young couple and that kind of way. But when I was coming with like a young woman by myself looking for an apartment, they're like, oh, she's probably not going to pay. So you always
Wow.
have to, people already have all these biases about what they think. Sometimes I remember going to someone's house, and because the house was owned by a man and his girlfriend lived in another part of town, she was uncomfortable with me, with him renting to me because she thinks that maybe I'm going to take her boyfriend away from her. And I'm only there. I only care about your apartment. I don't care about you. You're not even somebody I would look at. I have no interest in. It was Mr. Bowen. He was much older than I was, maybe 20 years older than I was. I had no interest. It's just so strange, the things that you have to do. Finding a home anywhere is especially in New York, is difficult because everything is so expensive, and
Very.
people move into people's homes and stuff, and they don't bother to pay rent. So people are
Right.
super cautious of that.
Mhm.
Well, this
Yeah.
is where we try and start giving back to the community and coaching young people. If they're going for a home, these are the things that you need to know. This is how you
Right.
apply for a loan. This is how you
Yeah.
get your credit into good
Entire, yes.
status before
Mhm.
you
Oh
go
yeah.
and you get that refusal. Because there's nothing more despairing than have the bank turn you down for a loan. And
Mhm.
it's wonderful when you're getting your first house. For me, the last time I came to New York, I was very surprised at the gentrification that is
Mhm.
happening in Brooklyn.
Oh yeah.
Some people are giving up some beautiful monster houses at some
Mhm.
very, very cheap rates, and these people come in and just
Oh, my
And just
family's a victim to that. So
yeah.
Yeah.
yep, my family.
Hello, Patricia.
Hi, Patricia.
Thanks for joining us today. Yeah, so that's an issue that is never going to go away. But the basic thing that you need to do is just be prepared for it and be careful about what you put on social media. We had a discussion about this during the week, that even when it comes to getting a loan, people are
Right.
Googling everybody. So be careful about how you present yourself when you're getting a loan for a home. Just be mindful that everything that's out there can be used against you to
Yeah,
make decisions about whether or not people want to do business with you.
that's
Right.
absolutely true, Amy, because when we bought our first home, I remember the lender was like, "Oh, I didn't know you got engaged at Disney World." I was like, "Wait a minute, how the heck did he know that?" He looked up my Facebook. They watched my wedding video on YouTube. I was like, "Whoa!" They did a whole search, social media search. They're like, "Oh, yes, look at
Wow.
these pictures." Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's what everything. It's not about just buying a home. It's also if you want a
A
job.
job, looking for a job, yeah.
Want a job.
I
It'll
have
fix
nothing to worry
everything.
about on my Facebook, but if you have a lot going on, you're showing too much skin and things like that, or you
Mhm.
popping bottles at the club and all that.
Right.
Revamp your Facebook. Think about
Yeah,
it. It might hinder you for job opportunities or even getting a loan. It's crazy.
exactly.
Yes, very true. All
Yeah.
right, ladies. So what we're gonna do now is we're almost at half hour mark, and I want us to switch gears. But before we do that, I want us to have a commercial break. And when we come back, we're gonna be diving into long distance relationships. Do they work long term? Yes or no? And we have a wonderful social cue question to ask you also. So stay tuned. We have some hot topics coming up. Tell your friends to come. The second half is extra hot. Let's
Yes.
take a commercial break.
Hey, I got some good news for you. Looking for a passionate immigration lawyer with experience that spans over 2 decades? Someone trusted that served immigrant families just like yours? Well, look no more. Now you can benefit from her personal and professional experience. Diane Winter Funde. Schedule a consultation now and get assistance with your immigration journey. Specialize in adjustment of status, B1 business visa, B2 visitors visa, consular processing, deportation defense, naturalization, and more. Give us a call today at 813-815-3529. That's 813-815-3529 or online at winterimmigration.com. Attorney Diane Winter Funde, law done differently.
All right, so we're back from our commercial break, and I want us to talk about long distance relationships. So a lot of people, I think more so than ever before, because of the pandemic, a lot more people are engaged in long-term relationships, or long distance rather, because you can't be together like how you normally would be. So now you might have a boyfriend who lives in another city, but you can't get to see him that much. So that's an issue. But we also have people who are long distance, like in different countries, in different states. And there's a study that came out, I think it was out on, the question was put out on Twitter, saying that long distance relationships don't work. So can anybody speak to having success with a long-term relationship?
Well, I mean, I don't know who wrote that article on Twitter to say, to make a general statement to say a long distance relationship don't work. I would say some long distance relationship don't work. I'm in a long distance relationship, and we have been together for July is gonna make it 4 years, and it's good for us. I think it's dependent on the individual and what you spoke about in the beginning of the relationship. Like I wasn't going to, enroot my kid up of high school to just move back to New York or wherever, that to be under the same roof. So it depends on the conversation that you have, depends on what you guys what you guys want for the future. So because that person could have a 5-year plan. Like you're not in a long distance relationship just because, we just want to talk dirty, and we're just going to be only just like a sexual conversation. You're having a real life conversation. And I know people who are living in the same state, and and it seems like they're in a long distance relationship because they don't see their partner that much. So I don't know. I think it's individual. I'm a kind of introvert. There is an extrovert, but he kind of flip back and forth. So I think it worked for us. We do like our own space. Sometimes, the conversation is to get under the same roof. However, it's working. You have to get creative. We talk about any and everything, every day. So like I will look at different topics and like, hey, let's discuss this or let's talk about this, and then you get to know the person. I think it gave me an opportunity. I think if we were in the same state, we probably would have broke up already because we would not have such deep conversations.
Right.
I think it may be. I think when it comes to long distance relationship, it all depends on the person's age. Hate to bring that up but if you really think about it, someone who's in their 20s and they do a long distance relationship, it won't work. Because if you think about it, those type of people are always out and about, meeting other people. They're young. They're not really looking at it as more of a settled down situation. And they're going to be looking for more intimacy, meaning that maybe on the weekends, I want to hang out with my boyfriend. Maybe you want to see my boyfriend during the week. So it's a little harder. Right. So it depends on someone who's a little bit more mature, right? So it would work out better because depending on their lives, they can actually work it out. Most likely, both those two people are busy.
Exactly.
And that might work for them, right?
Yeah.
So it all depends on the person's age when it comes to long distance relationship. I know for me, I don't even consider this long distance, but you guys tell me. But my husband was in med school in Long Island. I lived in New Jersey. That's about 45 minutes commute to an hour. So I saw him on weekends. So for me, I didn't really consider it as a long distance relationship because both of us was in school, saw each other on weekends, And and that was basically what happened probably with any relationship I was in, because I was just too busy. So I guess, but if I feel like if he was in a different state, that would have been a little harder, because first of all, we didn't have no money. So we're not, how are we going to fly and see each other all the time? So that would have been hard.
Yeah.
So, it all depends on the person's situation.
Yeah.
I'm seeing some comments there. Samantha said it depends on the maturity of the individual and also the goals that they have in mind.
Yeah.
Me being old school, sometimes distance makes the heart grow fonder. And when you do see that person, it makes it all the more special and all the more sweeter, knowing that you just have a little bit of time together. You're gonna make it as great as possible. I see Patricia Cornwell. She says, my husband is in Jamaica and it works perfect. So
that would work for me. I can tell you that. I was in a long distance relationship that turned into a marriage that turned out to be an epic failure and the biggest disaster in my life. Okay? It was horrid. And I dated this person for 5 years. So I started dating when I was 19. And we got married when I was, 24? 24, yeah. 24 years old, I got married to this person. This person had a whole next life, a whole next child that I never knew existed. So, and I thought that we saw each other often because we were together like maybe once a month or so, because he lived here and I lived in Canada. Girl, that. If I would tell anybody about long distance relationships based on my experience, I say stay far away from that. But you know what? It's not necessarily the distance, because you can live together with somebody right here, and your relationship still feels distant anyways. The point is that you have to have a really good communication, and the person has to actually want to be in a committed relationship, or not just playing games. So unfortunately for me, it turned out to be really bad. But people are saying they can't hear me. There's feedback. Hello.
We hear you. I think it's just a little
yes, there's a lot of feed. Yeah, that's better.
Okay.
I see Margaret is saying it all depends on the person again.
Yeah, I think it's the feedback, Landy.
It's the feedback on my end.
Probably, yeah. If you come in,
I might have to wait to see if I can get some headphones, but I apologize.
That's okay. Yeah, so I mean, even though with long distance relationships, like Landy was saying, like I said, it all depends on a person. And I mean, so if anyone's in the chat, are there anyone that's in a long distance relationship, and how does it work for you? Is it bad? Is it going well for you? And just let us know about it. Put it in the chat, let us know, and I would love to hear back from our audience, like who's in a long distance relationship and who's enjoying it. Because we know Hermelin's enjoying it, so.
Oh my goodness.
So I saw one person said, I forgot her name. She said her husband is in Jamaica and she's here and is working just fine.
I think that was Patricia. She says, I wish I could see him every day, but that's the way it is. And he's an awesome man, thank God. And I'm also looking at something here saying, giving you some life hacks to make your long distance relationship survive. They say, see it as an opportunity. If you want to live together, you first need to learn how to live apart. And you also need to set some ground rules in your expectations of each other while you're apart. And you don't put yourself in dicey situations. If you know you can't take the heat, you need to stay out the kitchen. So don't put yourself in places where it's going to test your faith and your commitment. Also try to communicate regularly and creatively. Oh, they even suggest talking dirty to each other. I don't know anything about that. And
What?
yes,
I
and
think that's a lie.
Who said that? Julie, who is saying that? Who wrote
I've
that?
seen this on lifehack.org.
Oh, that life hack. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yes. And they say make
Trust.
visits
You
to
have
each
to-
other.
You have to have trust.
You
Trust
do.
Trust is the
You
major
do.
thing.
And if you're making a visit, make it special and make it meaningful. You know?
When you're making it hot.
Yes, you have to keep it hot. Otherwise, if it's too cold, they're gonna start looking elsewhere.
You gotta have different. You have to have a big imagination.
Yes, that's so
That's
true, Victoria. That is so true.
So
I agree with that.
Hermie, because you're in a long distance relationship. Tell me, what do you do to keep it spicy?
Oh my God, we do a lot of things. We talk every twice, and not even twice. Like we talk, and then we have special times we talk. Like I talk to him like around 10, and then I will talk again, just like maybe send a joke or two in between, and then later on in the night, we catch up on each other's day. There's all kind of thing we do, dancing, soca music, ratchet music, just oh God, we send notes. Like Derek just sent me like a whole bunch of poems that I sent for him. Like the first year we was together, I was cracking up. I'm like, did I say that?
Oh my God,
that's naughty. That's dirty stuff, Derek.
hey,
Yeah.
we're all adults here. You have to do what you got to do, right?
Yeah. So you have to be creative. Like just like last week, I came out like I called him and I had like a sweatpants and like a nice like Fenty bra. Like that's so like not even matching, but it was sexy,
Yeah.
And, that's something out of the. I was like, you look cute, right? Like, yeah, it looked cute. So I dress up. I intentionally dress up, whether in the day. So he knows when to call me because there is a time when I'm like working for a couple hours and I'm not dressed. But I go up with dress with my hair done, and even if we was together, I would be doing the same thing because my mom always said, dress up like you have somewhere to go every day.
Yeah, no, that's true.
So I really take that. Yeah, I do it every day. And then we stayed together for a month in COVID, so we kind of see like how we would probably live. I'm gonna try it again for another month or 6 weeks again this year. And I realized when we together that we just even more compatible. Like we don't even have much arguments like long distance, but it's like so like, oh, what do you want to watch TV? Yeah, let's do that. Oh, you want to cook together? You want to, so it's, and as I say, age too, like so we don't sweat a lot of the small stuff.
Yeah.
He cook for me, I cook for him. He clean, I clean. He do the laundry, I fold the laundry. So in the conversation, we got a lot of things. He knows I will never, even if I have a washing machine here, I just will never do laundry.
Right.
Yeah, I hate folding.
Stand your ground.
Yeah, I don't like doing laundry. Just remember when we used to do laundry on a joking board back home, and all that labor. All I think laundry to me is labor. Even if I have a washing machine, but I like to fold and put away the clothes, so he's not gonna ask me to do the laundry.
Yeah, I hate folding. Like you can't get me to fold. I'm not good at folding. Period.
Going back to the long distance thing, it makes me think of my parents when they were migrating from St. Vincent to look for a better life, and how he went to England ahead of my mother. And I think she was only 16 or 17 at that time, and my father was probably around 19, 20. And to have a relationship with that huge distance between you, and still send for people and bring them up to England, or sending them, they would go out to Trinidad, they'll go to the States or what have you. A lot of our parents have some beautiful love stories that we can learn from.
Yes,
and have some faith that long distance relationships do work out. And a lot of people are referring to level of maturity of a couple, if you share the same life goals together, and in your heart, if you're saying that person is for me, that is the love of my life, I think you'd move heaven and earth to be together.
Right. Well, I think Julie, I think you're getting the story a little bit twisted with mom and dad. So the way I remember it is Daddy left because he had some issues down there for a bit. So he left and he went to England, and mommy said, "Okay, you're leaving and you're going to England and you're just taking off and you're going about your business." So mom decided that she was going to go to Trinidad. And back then, Trinidad was like the hot spot.
Hot girl city.
And she had sisters who were living in New York City. My mother was my aunts were very elegant women, very stylish and very on point. They were real city girls. So she went to go join the city girls, and my dad didn't like that too much because he figured he was going to lose her in Trinidad because some other man was going to scoop her up. So he decided that he was going to send for her right quick because he was in England. You're not staying here to get some guy. Yeah. No. You have to come. You're gonna come as soon as possible.
Your mother was smart. That was strategy.
Yes,
Of course. That was strategy. But then when you think about it, Julie was a lot of Caribbean people were, especially in the 90s when we were here, were in long distance relationships.
Yeah.
People, and then think about it, some of us couldn't even, well, I was in a long distance relationship, but some of them could not go back home to even visit. So you remember calling on the little paper number to call them. And some of these people survive. They are in America together. So sometimes when people say, "Oh, I never want to be in a long distance relationship," I'm like, "Well, he was in Grenada, and you were here for 5 years, 10 years, and you guys still together." Like, oh my God, I don't even think of it like as a long distance relationship. Yeah, and then, so it does work as everybody said. It all depends on the person and your goals.
It does. And there's some promising statistics about it too. There's some good things that people are saying that long distance relationships are there. I'm gonna just tell you the statistics on long distance relationships are encouraging. This is according to the Time magazine. It said according to a 2013 study from the Journal of Communication, approximately 3 million Americans live apart from their spouses at some point during their marriage, and 75% of college students have been in long-distance relationships at one time or another. Research has even shown that long-distance couples tend to have the same or more satisfaction in their relationships than couples who are geographically close, and higher levels of dedication to their relationship and less feelings of being trapped. So that's what I have to say about that.
Right.
Yeah. So
okay, that's a good point.
That is a good point there.
Yeah.
So you see how much people are living apart? That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
Whether the spouse is in the army or they have a job overseas. Like I have a friend of mine, her husband is in Saudi Arabia right now, and she's in Brooklyn. They haven't seen each other in over a year and a half. So that's
a long time.
That's a long time. That is a long. Like with me and Derek, like every 3 months that we start to get antsy. Like as soon as we hit the 3-month mark, like when we do not see each other, there is an antsy or somebody's like don't have a full attitude, and it's like, oh, we haven't seen each other in 3 months. That's what it's like a natural thing that just happens. Like every 3 months. It's like, oh, we need to plan a trip.
Right.
Yeah.
I just have another point I'd want to bring. My sister said back in the days, some had no choice. They had to make it work because there's no how you're going back and shame the whole family. So you have to make it work. So not a lot of pressures involved in making sure that your relationship stays together because your whole family is depending on you to make it in America or make it work in England so that you can help the people coming behind you. So these pressures still exist today. And, like I said, if you are really committed to each other, regardless of whether rivers or oceans separate you, if you really want to be in your relationship, you will do what is necessary to keep it together.
That's true, Landy. That's very, very true. Yes.
So I have this other topic I wanted to slide in here real quick. So in the New York Times has a column and it's called Social Cues. And this particular comment was, the title was, I was fine with being the breadwinner until 2020 came along. So I'm just going to read it. It was posted on the New York Times, February 25th, 2021. She says, I was married 2 years ago to a caring and considerate man. He moved into my home with my two kids, who are now away at college. When he arrived, he subtly let me know that he didn't expect to pay any household expenses. I work part-time and have some family money, but I'm still on a budget. I didn't mind paying for everything until the pandemic hit. Now I've lost my job and my investments have taken a hit, so my finances are tight. I've brought up my situation several times, but my husband says things are tight for him too. Our incomes are about the same. I can't help feeling hurt and resentful. He knows this, but he does nothing. Any advice? What would you say
Well,
to this?
the same way he subtly told her at the very beginning of the relationship that he's not going to be paying anything in the house. She should have subtly say at the same time, I am not going to stand for that. She should have put her foot down from then. Now it's trying to kind of try and get the horse after he's well out of the stable, prancing around in the meadows. Now you're trying to pull him back in and say you need to pay some money. You're gonna eat and you're gonna pay.
Listen, Landy, read the first sentence. She married to a kind and considerate man. Wait.
Sorry, I almost catch vomit in my throat.
Because I just need for us to go back to that first sentence. Like I tried to figure out where is the kind of considerate is now. Like, did she say that?
He was kind and considerate because he made it known from the start that he's moving in and he's not paying for nothing.
That's why he was coming.
So she was paying for her aid. Then he's an aid. She was paying for an aid, a male aid, to take care of her needs while he does nothing.
Listen, look, Doug King Howard. Listen, Doug King Howard said, "Get rid of him." She looking. I know he's trying to say she's looking for man, because that's what my family would say. She's looking for man. She was a clown. Yes. First of all, you should know what you're getting into in the beginning, and now you want to complain. Now you want to put all the rules and stipulations now because you're tired and fed up. Girl, you knew what he was bringing.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of something, right?
Probably knew that what he was bringing, and she was okay with that. But now she's like, okay, that's not enough. That's not enough.
Guys, I don't know if it's because we are from the Caribbean.
It's not enough.
I don't know if it's because we're from the Caribbean, but how the hell did he know about her inheritance?
Sure.
Because even if I had an inheritance, it will be a while before I even tell you about that. Because I mean, there was something before, like how a man move in and he's telling you he's not contributing to no bills, especially exactly, Geraldine, he's homeless.
Mm-hmm. Listen, she picked him off the street. So you know what?
That can't be right.
My grandma would have been like,
I'm seeing
too dotish. She's too dotish, right?
Yes, dotish.
Yeah.
She's dotish.
Susan said she's minding a boy, not a man. And Doug King said she should buy a dildo. Sorry, that still doesn't pay the bills either.
Yeah, that'll keep you home lonely.
Listen, the way my mind is set up, he will come home and find his bags outside because what is he contributing though? Because that
vitamin
I don't want it.
That's what the vitamin D. That's what he's providing.
Yeah, what is he contributing?
Not enough. It's not enough anymore. She's like, okay, this is it. I'm done.
I ain't doing that anymore. I'm not doing that. I would never do that.
I think all his clothes will end up outside the window one day. That's what she needs to do.
But you
shut
know
it down.
You know what? There are women out there, and I'm not going to knock them, that do like to take care of men.
Yeah.
Right?
Agreed.
There are women like that. And if that is you, don't come back and turn around and start complaining. Okay? If that is you. And I'm not going to bash the women that are doing that. That's their, they want to do that. They're happy
Prerogative,
with
yeah.
that. Yeah, their prerogative. Exactly. Thanks, Herbie. But yeah, I just know for me, no.
Yeah, that wouldn't be that would
Into her home, you said. Into her home. So she brought him into her home. Okay. That's
Yeah,
that's enough.
I don't understand.
I think
she
there's
well, first of all, she talks too much because he knew about her inheritance. He knew she was doing a good job. She had a home. He's like, perfect. Oh my God, she was pick me. I'm better than all the other women you're probably dating right now. So, but I have financial stability. So he picked her.
Yeah.
He don't care. He would have been gone since the start of COVID when he said he wasn't contributing again when she brought up the conversation of like, hey, my money is going down, dwindling down. No, he's gonna stay there. If she's stupid enough, he's gonna stay there until all the money turns $0,000, and then he is gonna move out.
Probably.
He can find himself another sugar mama.
People have to
That's an
understand that
opportunistic relationship. He's an opportunist.
But as Victoria said, a lot of women are doing that because, like, even when I listen to Zayn letters, there was for the last couple of weeks, there was similar letters like that on Zayn. These women are taking care of these men. Some of them, they complain now that the men are not bathing, they're not taking a shower, they're not contributing. Oh, I'm like,
so wait a minute. So they smelling and not contributing? That's crazy.
Yes. You know, they're not doing any housework, they're not cooking, they're not clean. Like I couldn't. My temper is not set up for those kind of abuse.
Either. The thing about it, like, if you don't have the money, you can understand how maybe there's ebbs and flows in life where one person is working or one has more than the next, but you got to be contributing somehow.
Yes,
and that should be like
Okay,
making sure the house is clean, cooking.
Let's talk about how he's contributing, Andy. Let's talk about how he's contributing. With it being COVID, a good man is hard to find. Are you going to give up your lousy one and have nothing? Or are you going to stick with the crap that you have for now? Until better days come?
I don't know.
What do you do?
I would be by myself. I wouldn't want the aggravation. I'd rather be all by myself with no man.
But she picked him fully well knowing. She knew from day one.
Right.
She knew from day one how this man was, that he had no money and he wasn't willing to contribute to nothing.
Right.
So she knew. So she should not complain now. You're stuck with him.
Yeah,
you spoil him. So stay with your spoiled child.
Exactly.
Hopefully she'll be smart enough to do I hope she had a prenup.
No, I don't think, to be quite honest, listening to this story, I'm pretty sure she doesn't have a prenup because she's too dotish. So I'm pretty sure she don't got no prenup in place. First of all.
He's the plumber.
He's a
plumber, yeah.
But even if he was a plumber, he'd be making a very good salary.
No, not that type of plumber.
He's not laughing about that kind of
plumber. You know?
Oh, not that kind of plumber?
Yeah. That's what he's contributing.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Exactly.
To me, that's if she really wants that, she should have just left him in his place and get him on the weekends. That's what she should have done.
Exactly.
Exactly. But that ring is gonna cause a lot of women to do a lot of things. I would have be like, you stay in your place, I stay in my place.
I'll call you when I need you.
Yeah, control my finance.
There's a special name for that.
I know.
What? What? I think a gigolo.
Gigolo?
Quick fix? I don't know. Not gigolo.
Gigolo means a male prostitute. That's a gigolo.
Yes, not really a gigolo, but he's your permanent.
He's your jump up,
your go-to person.
Yeah,
jump up or jump off.
No. It's called, I don't know. There's a lot of terms. There's There's Netflix and Chill Boo. You could call that.
Okay. Booty call.
Yeah. Dog said he's a scumbag. That's what he is. A scumbag. Let's go to a dog.
Cuffing season. I know you guys heard about that. She might be in cuffing season. She probably went through that, and then she realized she didn't want the bargain. She didn't want all of it. She probably was in cuffing season, and that's what happened.
I discussed that with Derek on Friday too, and he was like, she exposed all her finances. He's not gonna step up to the plate. And he's a man saying that. He's like, he's not gonna step up to the plate because he in his head he's saying financially she is good. He's in relaxed mode.
Yeah.
You hear that? He's in relaxed mode. Oh my God. I could just see me going through the house. Everything will be just smashed. Like something is not gonna work because he has to go.
Well, the sad thing is that people are, I don't know if you hear things that people are saying that there's a shortage of good men out there. I don't know how true this is. So people are picking until they pick shit. That's what my mother used to say.
I bet he was probably tall and handsome, right? I wish we had. She chose him on his looks.
He chose him on his looks, but you're paying for a man child. And that's tough. And we're laughing at it, but there's a lot of women who are out there because I don't know the numbers, but a lot of women are educating themselves, Black women especially. We're climbing. There's statistics out there, and I don't have the numbers. Like I'll say again, that we're starting the most businesses. Right. We are getting higher level degrees. We are in those top positions, and we're doing our damn thing. We're doing it. And the men are not necessarily at the same level. So then the pickings are slim. So then people end up with these bad situations that create resentful situations. So
you should say pick nothing. Then just pick.
Let me go into that because some women they have pickings and not all of them are bad pickings, right? There's some men that are out there having honest jobs. Like a plumber or a sanitary worker that's making a good, decent living, and they still don't want them because they're not on their level, but they're good men, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And like what's his name says, you want to die alone.
Yeah.
That's oh my goodness.
Yeah.
The thing that I'm noticing is like when you're in your 20s, you have all these things. I remember I didn't want to shop children, so I dated somebody tall, and because I figure like you are a Black male and you have to be short in I don't know. Let me try to take out something from you, whatever. And but I mean, like in my 40s, my that changed, and what I'm seeing is a lot of women in their 40s and 50s are still talking things that they were saying in their 20s that doesn't make really much sense to me, because as you said, they are educated, they are at a certain level, but you haven't been dating and you haven't had a man for 10 years, and there comes, as you say, the plumber, the electrician, the bus driver, and he's like, oh no, I don't want him, and he is a good man.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. So when women say there's nothing out there, they're looking at a small percentage of men. There's people out there, they're just being too picky.
Yeah. Well, I would say 2020 overall has been really hard on everybody, relationship wise and financially. I find as women, and tomorrow's International Women's Day, as women, because the schools were closed, a lot of our jobs were impacted. Women had to stay home with their kids and become the homeschool teacher. Right. And then if you had a husband who was still working, you now had to turn around and say, well, I need this stuff for the toiletries, I need stuff for the kids. So your independence is gone, and now you have to turn around and ask your partner for money. From being independent to being codependent was very difficult and very challenging for a lot of people. What do you think?
It's challenging, but I do think like if you're in a committed relationship, whether marriage or otherwise, there's ebb and flows. The good thing is that for me, I know it sounds biased, but for a woman to be more dependent on a man is one thing, but for a man to be completely dependent on a woman long term, I personally I'm not comfortable with that. So yes, I
agree with that.
Rights and stuff like that, but there's just certain things that when a man is supposed to be a man, I still believe in the old school. A man is supposed to be a provider for his family. I don't care what anybody says. I want my man to be a leader in my household. I want him to feel like he he owns this and he can take care of himself and he can take care of his entire family. Even though I can do it, I still want my partner to be able to do it.
That's true. Because what if you end up, pregnant and bedridden, and what's gonna happen?
Exactly.
Yeah, and I want to think, like, I remember when I was married,
That's
like,
it,
me and my
that's it.
husband we had like a personal contract between us. And one of the things to ease like stress that we did was in the contract, we had, if you will be out of a job, if you're out of a job, you have 3 months to find a job with no stress, no pressure. Like, did you look for a job? Are you looking for a job? Are you
Yeah.
are you still sitting home? Thank God it never take any one of us 3 months to find a job. But I figure vice versa, a woman should be able to carry the household for at least 3 months, and a man should be able to carry the household for 3 months. And we're talking about not working because you might be sick, you might be injured from your job, pregnancy, anything that we off. Like, please don't. We're not going to stress each other for 3 months.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Understood, yeah.
That's true.
Well, this has been a great conversation, ladies. And thank you for wishing us happy International Women's Month. And
Thank you, guys.
thank you,
Thank
guys.
you.
Next week, we're going to be continuing to celebrate women. And we'll have some more interesting topics to bring to all of you. Thank everyone for joining us and chiming in. We loved everybody's comments. Keep it coming. Keep it coming. We promise to bring you something hot next week, so join us.
All right. Yes, thank you,
Thank
Dog.
you.
My
Bye.
cousin.
Bye,
Dawn.
Joe.
Bye.
Samantha, Spice, Baffy.
Bye, Doug.
Bye.
Bye, Samantha.
Pamela. Yes. Thank you guys for chiming in.
Hey, I got some good news for you. Looking for a passionate immigration lawyer with experience that spans over 2 decades? Someone trusted that served immigrant families just like yours? Well, look no more. Now you can benefit from her personal and professional experience. Diane Winter Funde. Schedule a consultation now and get assistance with your immigration journey. Specialize in adjustment of status, B1 business visa, B2 visitors visa, consular processing, deportation defense, naturalization, and more. Give us a call today at 813-815-3529. That's 813-815-3529 or online at winterimmigration.com. Attorney Diane Winter Funde, law done differently.
I found the Alzheimer's Association of
Hey there.
and I decided to get involved. So at the time when I found them, they were planning a trip to go to Albany to do some lobbying to get more money for research and different things that they were trying to push along with their agenda. So I said, well, I want to go on this trip because this is going to be something that I can do, that I can feel like I'm involved in trying to help this cause, because Alzheimer's does seem like it's a very hopeless disease, but it does take people gathering together to to get things done. So I ended up going to Albany with this group of people who I never met before, and I was told to walk around and talk to politicians and tell my story about why am I here and why this is important for them to support. So everything from that just kind of snowballed. I made a really, really good connection with the group who was there. A lot of them were people who interact a lot with the government agencies and so forth. So they brought me under their wing, and I told my story, and it just ballooned from there. I decided to become an ambassador for my area. And my goal with that relationship was to build a relationship with my local politicians here and the ones that represent in Washington, to let them know what was happening with Alzheimer's, give them information, let them know that we need their support and so forth. It just opened a whole new world of people to network with and people who felt as passionate as I did about this cause, and I still do to this day. In 2020, I was nominated for the Carlino Award, which is the award for advocacy work. So I was really, really proud of that.
What you do makes a difference, and you get to decide what difference you make. All Pro Health Staffing, www.allprony.com.
Is that you? Bye.